good to go, Captain. Alright, here we go. Watch your.
Guys, we're here. We're about to launch. Guys, we're on the crew. We're going to launch in a minute. Or second. We're going. Guys, we're going. We're going. We're going. Guys, we're going. Are we going to hit the rock or something? We have to take a U-turn. We're going back. We're going, guys. Changing our course. We're going. We're going. We're going. That was correct.
Thanks very much.
Oh my god. What was that? That's great. I don't know. Oh, the boat is making.
Now, as we make our way up the harbor area, I always like to point out the red that's ahead and on the right. This is the U.S. Coast Guard Station. Now, stationary can help very difficult job for they're responsible for all the aids to navigation. They also do search and rescue missions and help stranded movers from time to time.
We're going, guys. We had to take a turn over.
Off on our left, or on the port side, you will see a stone breakwater. This is known as the Burlington Breakwater, and it is very historic. It was built in 1839 and stretches 3,600 feet across the Burlington waterfront. Its purpose is to knock down the large wave action we get when the wind is blown up just a bit too hard.
Guys, we're going to
the
over
west, or
here.
the southwest. The north end of the breakwater ahead and to the left has a lighthouse that flashes at night and is visible for 16 miles. The south end of the breakwater also has a lighthouse that flashes at night, and that one is visible for 6 miles. The reason for the difference in the intensity of these lights is to aid a mariner approaching harbor at night, so they can distinguish between which end of the harbor give scuba divers a predetermined site on which to dive. These particular buoys are correctly known as the horse ferry. Now, a horse ferry doesn't mean that they carry horses as passengers, but that horses are the means of propulsion for the ferry. It propelled the ferry through the water. There were horse ferries operating up to 12 horsepower. This particular ferry was a two-horse ferry. Its operation was from Milford, Vermont to Champlain, New York, before the bridge was constructed connecting New York and Vermont. The ferry was on its way into Burlington Harbor for routine maintenance, ran aground and sank in 50 feet of water where you see the yellow buoys today. The state of Vermont invites all divers to come down and check out these old wrecks. They ask that you don't remove any artifacts from the wrecks. In fact, it is illegal to remove artifacts. This is the best preserved ferry in the earth today. It is called the Place. This wreck was
You like the island guys? They limited people.
Remember that I said there would be a thrust fault on this side of Lone Rock? If you look across the rock wall from one end to the other, you will see a younger, darker colored rock down near the shore's edge. This is Iberville
We already
Shore.
went so far.
Above that, you will see a stratoline, and then above that, a much
We went so
older,
far,
lighter
guys.
colored rock known as Sonondola. These two plates of rock are in exact reverse order. In fact, this older, lighter rock should be 3 levels in the earth below this younger, darker rock. But it was pushed up over the younger, darker rock 350 million years ago as the plates of the continents of Europe and North America collided. This particular thrust fault extends from right here at Apple Tree Bay for about 60 miles to the south near Rutland, Vermont. This is the only viewing site of this thrust fault throughout the full 60 miles. All the rest is deeply submerged in Lake Champlain. This is known as the Champlain Thrust.
We're inside, of course. Inside. A water.
symbolized the accomplishments of the first known European to ever see the lake. Prior to its discovery, the Iroquois Indians claimed the southern part of the lake, and the Algonquins claimed the northern part of the lake. Champlain was born in Rouage, France in 1570, the son of a sailor. In 1601, Champlain was indulged with his love of travel and the sea and his expertise in nautical navigation. His early travels took him along the coast of Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts, and he did extensive navigation and mapping. He also made several journeys to Italy. In 1608, under the flag of New France, Champlain settled what is now Quebec City. an island known as Balfour Island. Some of you may recall the famous Battle of Balfour. This is where Benedict Arnold, 15 American boats, engaged in combat with 53 British vessels on October 11, 1776. Benedict Arnold, knowing a bit about British naval strategy, found that with his much smaller American boats, he could swim into the shallow waters behind Balfour Island, anchor his boats, and then, when weather conditions permitted, tack back into port and donated these islands to the University of Vermont. The University of Vermont found out they would have to pay New York State taxes on these 4 small islands, and they promptly donated them to the tax-free Adirondack Society. These islands would become and remain nesting grounds for most of the watertight fowl we find here. A few examples are ducks, geese, herring, and cormorants. But the main residents are the ring-billed seagulls. Researchers have counted as many as 50,000 nesting pair of seagulls on these islands. As you might well imagine, with that many seagulls, I don't recommend a trip out to Four Brothers Island for a picnic. It could be rather messy out there. Efforts are underway to attempt to control the population of these seagulls and cormorants, as they are disrupting the food chain for native species of fish. The state of Vermont owns half of the lake, and the other half is divided between New York State and Canada, with New York State owning 2/3 of the other half. Many people believe that Lake Champlain is a landlocked lake, although it is not. It is accessed from the south from the Atlantic Ocean via the Hudson River into the Champlain Canal system and then into the lake. It is also accessed from the north via the Atlantic Ocean into the St. Lawrence River, the Richelieu River, Chambly Canal, and then into Lake Champlain.
How do you like it? We're going into sea, of course. And what is this? It's like a mountain. I was not talking. They're making a lot of noise, right?
L'eau, c'était... Tu connais la...
island about 2/3 of the way across to the left. You should see nestled down in the trees the white superstructure and black cap of the old Juniper Light. Slightly behind it is its automated replacement, looking much like a flagpole or a tall tree with a bird perched on top. You can still travel out to the island and climb up the old lighthouse to get a commanding view of the lake. The old light is still structurally sound. The only things removed from this light were the light itself and the prism used to reflect the light. For many years, the people staffing the lighthouse grew most of their own food on the island. Berries that they planted on the island now grow wild, such as strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and even some blackberries. I must warn you, if you choose to visit Juniper Island and pick berries, be very careful. The island is loaded with poison ivy. These locations gave the gunners in the forts a commanding view of the narrows of the lake, and they could control boat movement from both the north and the south. It was the idea of the British that if they could control these forts, they would have control of Lake Champlain, thereby cutting off the colonies from the rest of the country. Fort Ticonderoga was originally built by the French and was known as Fort Carillon. It was then captured by the British and renamed Fort Ticonderoga. Ethan Allen and the Green Mountain Boys captured the forts from the British. Many of the guns and cannons that they were used from the fort were carried to Boston, where they were instrumental in breaking the British siege at Boston. This event is still celebrated by Bostonians.
Do you want to join this video,
today.
or if it's going to cost
It's on March
$1?
17th, and it's known as Evacuation Day.
Do you want to join the video, or?
Was in command, and a very famous fort bears his
Do you
name
want to join the
today.
video?
Fort Knox.
Do you want to join the video, Aura? Do you want to join the video? Do you want to join the video?
Yeah.
It's going to cost $1. Daddy can pay later. You can pay later.
So there's Canada.
Canada's over there, guys. It says Canada. RF says Canada's over there.
I got my dad. Canada's right there.
Oh, good. Okay. Come on.
I was just eating pizza. Do you know Washington?
Washington?
I show you.
Okay. I wonder how as well. Okay, well, as we're going. What? Here's what? Oh, the map. They're waterproof.
Off to the right, you will see see a large rock rising from the surface of the lake. This rock is called Rock Dunder. Rock Dunder has the distinction of having been fired on by the British Navy as they had
You meant
mistaken
this
it
map.
for the fog for
Why
an
would you put
American
it down?
warship. We're told that this rock was named after the British gunner on the vessel who
What
fired
he
on the rock.
wants to show this
The
map.
smoke from his cannon rose. The fog lifted slightly. And he exclaimed to the British captain, "My
This is the
Dunder,
remote.
it's a rock." There's another interesting story about this rock. There's an Indian tribe in Vermont known as the Abenaki Indians. The Abenaki,
So the map
this rock
says
is their great god Ojiotso.
this will
And that
go over here.
Ojiotso created
Goes
all
on
the
Highway
people of
West.
Champlain Valley. He
No,
then
no,
turned
no,
himself
no,
into
no,
stone
what's that?
and placed himself where he could keep
Come
an
on,
ever
this
watchful
highway
eye
to
over
come
his beautiful creation.
We
In the early
stayed at a
1950s,
hotel.
some local steamboat mariners thought it would be a neat trick
And then
to
we
put strips of dynamite
we
beneath
went
this rock and
somewhere.
eliminate a hazard to navigation. The Abenaki Indians' interest prevailed, and this rock is now deeded to the Abenaki Indian Nation.
Oh, there's another one.
To ice cream factory. To the ice
Science
cream.
tells us that the Champlain Valley was created over 10,000
Yeah, we
years
went to
ago
the
at the
ice
time of the
cream
glacier.
factory.
There was almost 10,000 feet of ice above where we are right now, which would
I don't
measure
see
just
ice.
about 2 miles straight up.
Let's see ice
It
cream.
was the tremendous weight and pressure of the ice that carved out this beautiful lake and valley. For some evidence of the glacier's presence, if you look on the backside of Rock Thunder as we pass by, you will see several large granite boulders near the waterline. These boulders are not indigenous to this area. In fact, they are more commonly found in Massachusetts or Connecticut. However, these boulders were deposited on the backside of Rock Thunder as the glaciers receded to the north. Also, if we were just a bit closer, you would see that these boulders have very smooth surfaces on them. Surfaces that were created from the rolling and tumbling action as the glaciers receded.
Okay.
Many people believe that the area of land coming up on the right is another island. This is actually the northern end of the Shelburne Peninsula, known as Shelburne Point. Shelburne Point, together with the area of land straight ahead known as Red Rocks Point, form the mouth of Shelburne Bay. Shelburne Bay is a hot spot for many pleasure boaters during the summer months. It is also a hot spot for us on board the Spirit of Ethan Allen III. When we have dinner cruises on windy evenings, we can cruise right down into Shelburne Bay where the water usually stays calm, adding comfort so our passengers may enjoy their cruise while dining. acres for you to enjoy in the park, and most of the park is a network of walking paths. Most of these walking paths were established back in the 1800s. You can see that most of the acreage is covered with softwood trees. These softwood trees create a great deal of shade and provide a cool cover in Red Rocks Park for everyone to enjoy. If you look at the park now, you can see where it gets its name, from the red striations in the rock. This rock is known as Moncton Quartzite. You might have noticed while coming into the city of Burlington that some of the government-owned buildings, banks, and post offices were built of this red rock. Moncton Quartzite was quarried in Vermont for many years. If you look high above the cliff wall at the highest bare spot, that highest outcropping of rock is 75 feet to the water's surface. On many hot, sunny summer days, we are treated to some alcohol wannabes. Cliff divers, that is. These cliff divers don't have to fear hitting bottom. Right up next to the rocks, the water is 60 feet deep. I should also mention that on hot days, we see many moons at Red Rocks.
This is Red Rock.
see a small marina area with many boats tied to their shoreside facility. That's known as the Shelburne Marina. Just to the right of that, you should see a large gray building with a black roof, the Shelburne Shipyard. The Shelburne Shipyard is the oldest continually operated shipyard in existence in the United States today. They built boats during the War of 1812. They even built sub-chasers that saw worldwide action during World War II. Probably two of the most famous boats ever built here are the Chateauguay and the Ticonderoga. Both of these vessels were twin side wheelers, meaning they had a paddle wheel on each side and they were steam powered. The Chateauguay was built in 1887 and carried passengers on this lake until the early 1940s. She was then dismantled, loaded onto rail cars, and shipped to Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire. There she was reassembled, renamed the Mount Washington, and still operates on that lake today. The Ticonderoga was built here in 1906. She carried passengers on this lake until the early 1950s. She was then removed from service, motored south down Shelburne Bay, and pulled into a small cove at the far end of the bay. They built a dike around the tie, pumping out all of the water and lowering her onto a special-built rail system. It took 67 days to move the tie a short distance of 2 miles across fields and pastures to her present place of honor at the Shelburne Museum. If any of you like Yankee craftsmanship, I highly recommend the Shelburne Museum. They have many exhibits, and you can still walk the decks of the beautiful Ticonderoga. She looks pretty spiffy as she's recently undergone a $2 million refurbishment.
You just touched my hair on your back with a crazy cut. Watch him, guys, watch him. Please watch him. Oh, he touched his
Whoa! Whoa!
Here, somebody needs my hand. I think it's gonna sleep on the floor. It's literally gonna sleep on the floor.
Time is 8 p.m.
You're gonna sleep on. It's just been in 1 minute. been 1 hour. This is the longest video I have filmed. Filmed. But to be only 25 minutes or something, but it's 1 hour. We should be landing in a couple of minutes.
Probably the most often asked question on board the Spirit would be, how's the fishing in Lake Champlain? The fishing is quite excellent. There are 81 different species of fish, or possibly even 82 if you count shad. A few of the more popular varieties for the fishermen are Atlantic landlocked salmon, northern pike, walleye pike, perch, pickerel, steelhead, lake trout, bull and channel catfish, and a fair number of large and smallmouth bass, particularly the smallmouth variety. Another often asked question here on board the Spirit is, does the lake freeze over during the winter months? Indeed, it does. And when it does, it affords us a great many wintertime activities. Just a few examples of these are ice skating, ice boat racing, stormboarding, snowmobiling, and probably the most popular, ice fishing. At times, it will look like small towns have grown up on the lake with all the ice fishing shanties and the cars and trucks parked on the ice. If any of you have seen the movie Grumpy Old Men, that's exactly what it looks like out here during the winter months. I will warn you, though, that should you choose to drive out on the frozen surface of the lake, as soon as you leave the shoreline, your insurance policy is void. Should your car go through the ice while you're out here, the state of Vermont, being the great state that it is, allows you just 24 hours to remove your vehicle from the bottom of the lake. If you cannot do so, they'll have it done for you. If you can't pay the hefty fee, they have a good remedy for that also. They'll just take your driver's license. If you look off to our right side, you will see a few modest homes along the shore's edge. Most of these homes are priced greater than $1 million. Behind those homes, there's another Burlington Park for you to enjoy. This one is known as Oak Ledge Park, where they offer an accessible treehouse, volleyball, tennis, bocce courts, and even 2 small pavilions. Oak Ledge Park marks the start of the Burlington Bike Path. The bike path extends 14 miles north, mostly along the lake's shoreline up to the Winooski River, and then up the old railway causeway in Mallett's Bay. Incidentally, Winooski is an Indian name meaning onion. If you don't mind, I'd like to share a few facts about our boat itself. The Spirit of Ethan Allen III is 140 feet long from stem to stern. It is 33 feet wide and has a maximum draft of 6 feet. It is propelled through the water by 2 44-inch diameter propellers, and these propellers are turned by 2 6-cylinder Tier 3 Caterpillar C18 engines rated at 750 horsepower each. The Spirit 3 has a maximum passenger carrying capability of 363. The Spirit 3 was built in Salisbury, Maryland by Chesapeake Shipbuilding in 1997. To bring the Spirit of Ethan Allen into Lake Champlain, the two top decks had to be cut off. The ship is 43 feet high and it had to get under 17-foot tall bridges. It took 28 days to take the boat apart and 6 months to put it back together.